Go outside and look at it. The gray box bolted to the side of your house, humming quietly, ticking through numbers it never once asks your permission to change. That meter decides what you owe every single month. You trust it completely. You have almost certainly never checked it. And here is the part nobody tells you. That meter is legally allowed to be wrong. Not wrong as in broken, wrong as in charging you for electricity you never used, and doing it entirely within the law. There is no rule anywhere that says your meter has to be right. There is only a rule that says how wrong it is allowed to be before anyone with power has to care. This is the story of that rule and of a number the industry hopes you never learn. That number is called the accuracy class, and almost nobody outside the metering business has ever heard it spoken out loud. It is the single most important fact about the device that sets your bill, and it is never printed anywhere you would think to look, because here is the uncomfortable truth. Your meter was never certified to tell you the truth. It was certified to stay inside a margin of error, a tolerance band, and inside that band, a lie and the truth are treated as exactly the same thing. Most people picture the meter as a neutral witness, an honest, objective machine that counts electrons as they flow and reports the total. Cold, precise, incapable of taking sides. That picture is wrong. A meter is not a truth-telling device. It is an approximation device operating inside a legally permitted error. And here's the detail that should bother you. That error has a direction. The tolerance runs both ways. A meter can register low, undercharging you, or it can register high, charging you for power that never physically existed. The law permits both equally with a completely straight face, but you and I both know which of those two directions a utility company has no particular incentive to go hunting for. So let's talk about how wrong is allowed. In the United States, the revenue meters your bill is actually built on are governed by a standard called ANSI C12.20. It sorts meters into accuracy classes. A class 0.5 meter is permitted to be off by 0.5% in either direction. A class 0.2 meter, half of that again. That sounds reassuringly tiny. 0.5%, who could possibly care? But look closely at what that number actually licenses. A meter reading exactly 0.5% fast is not a broken meter. It is a compliant meter. It passes every test in the book. It is, by the legal definition, accurate, while it quietly bills you for electricity that was never delivered to your home. Think of it like a butcher's scale that is allowed to read a little heavy on every cut forever and still get stamped certified. Now widen the lens. Sub-meters, the kind that carve one bill into pieces across the apartments in a single building, are often held only to plus or minus 2%. 2% permanently in whatever direction the hardware happens to drift. Multiply a 2% bias across every unit in a tower across an entire year, and you are no longer talking about rounding. You are talking about real money moving quietly and legally in a direction that is somehow never yours, and every cent of it certified, all of it stamped as correct. Here is where it stops being a story about physics and becomes a story about who has to prove what. Suppose you become convinced your meter is running fast. You have a right, a real, genuine right, to demand it be tested. In most places, the first test is free. Sounds fair, but read the very next line of the rule. If the test comes back inside the tolerance band, you pay for it. In Pennsylvania, that is a fixed fee just to have your own meter checked. In other states, there is a charge for every repeat test you request within a couple of years. And remember exactly what inside the tolerance band includes. A meter running fast, right up to the legal limit, skimming a little extra from you every single month. So you can pay to have it tested, be told it is accurate, and walk away poorer than when you started. The fast meter still bolted to your wall, still legal, still winning. That is the machine laid bare. The burden of proof sits on you. The cost of checking sits on you. And the definition of correct was written to include the precise behavior you were complaining about in the first place. You are not being cheated. You are being tolerated. To be fair, the rules do contain one genuine mercy. If the meter tests outside tolerance, the fee is refunded, the utility has to replace it, and in most states, it has to pay you back for the overcharge. Sometimes for the whole period it can be traced, sometimes capped at 6 months. That protection is real, but notice where the line sits. It only triggers when the meter is wrong enough. Below that threshold, in the entire quiet range where a meter can lean in the utility's favor and still pass every check, you have no case at all. The wall isn't at zero error, the wall is well past it, and everything up to the wall is legally invisible. And now the part that turns this from an annoyance into something genuinely alarming. 0.5%, 2%, those are the optimistic numbers. They assume a meter behaving in a clean, controlled laboratory. Your home is not a laboratory. In 2017, researchers at the University of Twente in the Netherlands took 9 modern electronic meters, the digital kind that has been replacing the old spinning disc meters everywhere, and ran ordinary household loads through them. 5 of the 9 overread, not by 0.5%. One read 582% high, nearly 6 times the actual power consumed. Others landed at 475, 566, 569, and 581%. 2 underread by around 30. This was not a fringe claim shouted from the internet. The Dutch National Metrology Institute ran an independent countercheck and confirmed the results, which were published in a peer-reviewed IEEE journal. So what breaks a meter that badly? Not age, not tampering. The trigger was the exact technology every one of us is being told to buy. Several of these meters used a current sensor called a Rogowski coil, and when it met modern energy-efficient hardware, LED bulbs, dimmers, energy-saving switches, the electrical noise those devices throw back into the wiring scrambled the reading. The greener the home, the wilder the error. Read that again, because it inverts everything you assume. The dimmer you fitted to save power, the LEDs you swapped in to shrink your bill, those are among the things that can send the meter spinning. And this was not 9 meters in a lab and nothing more. The lead researcher estimated the faulty type had already been installed in at least 750,000 Dutch homes in one small country. Now stack on everything that has arrived since: solar inverters feeding back into the grid, heat pumps, EV chargers pulling and switching huge loads. Every one of them pouring exactly the kind of electrical noise these meters were never designed to survive. The framework that decides what accurate means was written for a world of incandescent bulbs and toasters. Not one of us lives in that world anymore. So go back outside and look at that box again. It is not necessarily lying to rob you. The truth is stranger and much harder to fight than that. The law never asked it to be right. It only asked it to be close enough. And close enough was defined by people who do not pay your bill for a house that looks nothing like yours, under rules that quietly place the entire cost of doubt on you. The meter isn't the villain here. It is doing exactly, precisely what it is permitted to do, which it turns out includes being wrong. Next time it ticks over, now you know what that number on the display really is. Not a measurement, a permission.